start with Kevin's barn first, American League. Now, Kevin and I had talked, and we said, we'll race him at Mohawk, and then the race secretary called looking, let me see if I can straighten this, looking for this horse's entry. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. Looking for this horse's entry midweek for Sunday. Drew the rail again. Jesus, I hate drawing the rail with this horse. He just doesn't get around the turn real good. So, rail's a bad spot to be with him. So anyway, he drew the rail tomorrow night at Flamborough. We're going to try and get him through, get some money, and then head back over to Mohawk with him. I hope he can do it Mohawk. He's on the bubble. But a great qualifier from him 3 weeks ago. I think he might be able to do. So American League's going to be heading back there. Art Seeker made his first start in London last night, an added distance of 1 mile and a 16th. Finished third, decent. He's got a lot of work to do, this horse. He's in limbo right now. I would sell him, but I don't think the money we'd receive for him would be fair. So we won't sell him yet, but he is on the block at some point to go. Be My Delight jogged in her first start. She drew the 7-hole again. Same class. She's 8-5 out of the 7-hole. Trained good this morning. Kevin was happy with her. I'm happy with her. So we'll get her going again on Monday and I think it's Monday in London. Maybe Tuesday. I think it's Monday. In London, first of the week. Better Call Mike. He drew the rail. I think it's Tuesday because Better Call Mike drew the rail Monday. That's correct. Better Call Mike drew the rail, his first lifetime start on Monday. Qualified really well. I was really happy with his qualifier, so was Kevin. So he's in to go Monday at London. Book the Bets training. I suspect she'll be schooling soon and in to qualify, and she'll be back at it, which is good because she fits the same class Sally DeVee does. Sally's on a bit of a rest. She was exhausted. We gave her a month off. So Book the Bet should be ready to go soon. Buckingham, I just saw Buckingham on the track a little while ago. Looks good, putting on weight. I talked last week how she did come back a little tucked up, but I think that was just she was running all fall. She looks good. She's putting weight on now and looks sound. So Buckingham hasn't started training yet, and I don't suspect she will. Probably till middle of the month, probably another week or two, she'll start training. I talked about Cruising with Angus in the outset, how he got injured. Very disappointing, but at the same time, if we take good care of him, I suspect he'll bounce back with a full recovery. As I said, when you're dealing with injuries of soft tissue, the two biggest contributing factors are the proper amount of time and the treatment in which you use them. There is a successful treatment for healing up these suspensories in young horses, especially a young horse. It's not perfect. It's not 100% recovery, but if you take care of them and keep the scar tissue down with these treatments, PRP, and shocking them, you can make a fairly significant return in recovery. So the rate of re-injury, as I said, is high in trotters for hind suspensories, but I suspect the reason that the rate is so high is because people just don't give them enough time. And I can't complain. I shouldn't say people. I did the same thing. If you guys remember when Stonebridge Hall had injured himself 2 years ago up front, when we brought him back, it wasn't enough time, and then he injured himself behind. Now we gave him the proper amount of time off behind, but because we didn't treat his front end the way we treated his back end, there was scar tissue in his front end, his front right, his left hind, and it created a little more pressure on that right hind than on that left hind than he could handle. And he raced about 10 times. They raced him a little bit hard, probably in over his head. They weren't taking a look at that suspensory closely, and I suspect it let go a little bit. I haven't seen him race in a while. So the way that you treat the horses after, during the recovery and then after you get them back going is vital in that rate of re-injury that we were talking about. And I just don't think the proper care is given to a lot of those horses. I'm guilty of that with Stonebridge Hall's right front, and I believe it caused his left hind injury. So by recognizing that and treating this horse better, dealing with his healing process, giving him the proper time to heal, and then in turn keeping an eye on it when we do get him back racing, I think his recovery will be fine. I know there's a horse headed to the Elite Lop when I was in New Zealand, had a very similar injury to this horse, and he's fine now, and he will be back going soon. So that is Cruising with Angus. Cruising with Styles on his way back. Hasn't arrived yet. I thought he'd be here by now. I know their papers are ready this week, so maybe the truck just hasn't gone out and got them. Doyle is going to bring them back. I would suspect they'll be here, I guess, first of the week. Tomorrow, the first of the week. Cruising in Style will be back with us in Kevin's barn. Dancing at Midland. He's racing like a bit of a slob right now. He may end up going up for sale also, this colt. Much like in the same case of Art Seeker. Very disappointed with his last mile. Now he drew the outside, and he drew the outside again this week. But I'm going to need a little more concerted effort from this colt if he is to stay safe in his address here at the stable. Hard 8, she's back training now, jogging. I haven't seen her train, don't know if she trained, definitely back jogging. She looks great on the track. She did put a lot of weight on and did grow up big. So Hard 8 looks great. Holden Steady's going to make his first B-track debut Monday in London. Trailing position, tough. Little non-winners are 30 or 25 on the B-tracks. It's a tough sledding, tough group, but at the same time, he raced adequate his first start. I think he could have put in a better effort. Track was a little sticky. Might be sticky in London Monday night also. I think Brett McDonald is driving him, so we'll see how he does. He's right in the cusp. He's getting there. He's getting better every week, and I think he'll be fine Monday night. If you knew Susie. Let me change that. If you knew Susie, raced decent last night, finished second again. Well within herself. Decent mile, decent class, finished second. No complaints there. Candy Mack and threw up a 5th. Had some issues with his breathing. We're going to get that addressed this week and move forward with him. Majesty Boy, I was told after that his hobbles were a little tight. The track was wasn't soupy, but it was still deep and it was hard to work through. He doesn't like his hobbles on tight, that colt, and they were a little tight last night. Robert Shepard said you need to let them out. He finished 4th, raced okay, got some money, and got a flat line. Master Saver, great 3rd place finish this week in London. Just got beat at the wire for 2nd and only beat maybe a half a length for 1st. It was a mile in a 16th race. The mile was probably rated at 159 and a bit, and that's a good mile for that colt. He's come back really, really good. He's not a colt now. He's a 4-year-old. He's a horse. Master Saver raced well. Road Tripper made a break at Flamborough. We're going to re-qualify him in in Mohawk on Monday. Track was crappy for him and his shoeing, but that's the way it is. So we'll requalify him and get him back at it this week. Time Al Houdini and Time Al Tulo, saw them both on the track today. Both looked really, really good. Very, very happy with the way Houdini looks. He's not fat and slobby anymore. He actually looks like a racehorse. He looks like he's in great shape. And Time Al Tulo put on some weight and looks tremendous also. So that's it. That's Kevin's barn. Very happy with what I've seen from them this week. And going to have a few more qualified and going next week. We'll be right back in a minute with Jason and Harry's barn. So I see a bunch of them just got back from training at Mohawk. We'll run through Harry and Jason's barn. They had a couple of trainers over there. Autumn Wings wasn't one of them, but she's been training really, really well. Harry had told me, give me a mid-January qualifying time for her. I have no reason to believe that she's not on schedule for that. He hasn't said anything to me. I guess I could have talked to him before I did this, but anyway, I suspect she'll be ready to school within a week and qualify within 2 weeks. If she's not, he's dragging his feet, and that's a whole other conversation. So Autumn Wings is my understanding. She's ready mid-January. Now, Bay Jewel I have in Harry's list. She's not technically at Harry's barn. She's at my barn down in Shedrow 6 with Danny and I and the babies, only because Harry doesn't have a stall left now. Doesn't really matter. She will be coming back up to Harry's barn when she gets closer to qualifying. They started training her this week. I know they went 1.5 miles twice with her. I'll probably sit behind her. Probably mid next week I'll go 1.5 miles with her and see how she feels. But she's filled out good and looks good. Exactly what I want to see from Bay Jewel. A little depressing last year, obviously. I had very high hopes for this filly. You know, just so you know, it can happen to anybody. I really thought this was going to be a state contender in Indiana, and she was a real flop when she got there. Had some real problems struggling with her gait, which was rare, and her mind, which I was also surprised with. So a bit of a shit show in 2018 for Bay Jewel, but hopefully she can make a rebound in 2019. Dewey Ann, we're really just putting in the time, trying to get her qualified, see what we got. I went to qualifier at Flamborough, and she was not comfortable on the track. But she just didn't seem comfortable that day. The day before it had stormed, and none of the horses got on the track. She might have tied up a little bit. So we'll see how she feels this week at Mohawk. I might throw the hobbles on her. Not sure that she needs them, but they might help a little bit. I'm going to warm her up with them on Monday and make a decision at that point whether I whether I qualify with them on or not. Fan the Flames, we obviously did not want to race him while they were on their break at Mohawk. We just had him back in to go this Thursday, I believe. He'll be racing at Mohawk in the same class, the maiden. So we'll see how he gets along. Going to be a little short. I think here you had a chance to train him a little bit today and a little bit on Monday before Thursday, but he'll likely be a little bit short. Final Answer, back going. I watched him train the other day. I thought he looked great training. Now, he does look a little bumpy when he was on the track going slow, which is a little concerning. We did have him looked at. No issues to talk about. We did have his knees injected just to make sure that he's okay. The fluid in his knees was good. There's nothing to be concerned with in that regard. There was no issues with the X-ray or fluoroscope. So not really sure what to tell you with this guy when it comes to the roughness when he starts out, but we're going to work through it and get him down, trained down to the races. High expectations for this colt. Smart, durable, tough colt. Really want to see what he can do in 2019. Just a tad. Again, this is mostly for Greg and I, as we're the only owners on this guy. Watch him train this week. A little bumpy right hind still. We talked about what we may have to do in regards to taking that OCD out of his right hind ankle. Frustrating. I don't want to do it, but if I have to, I will. And we're going to train him for about 2 weeks, get him close to the races, and then if we make a decision to take that chip out, we'll take it out, but at that point, he'll be ready to go. Back him off. Obviously, we take the chip out, he has to stop for 4 weeks. Probably in 3.5, we'll be back jogging him and try and get him qualified by March. That's just a tad. Lima's son made a little break. Wasn't Lima's son's fault. Little driver error. Jason went with him, made a little mistake with him. He had him a little too close to the rail. When you check him, he didn't have the hobbles on. It's the first time he'd ever run a real fast mile without hobbles. Didn't have them on. He got running in and just lost himself at Flamborough. Not a big deal. He'll go on Monday. I suspect everything will be fine there. Lincoln James coming off some really, really good miles. He's making his first start of 2019 tomorrow at Flamborough Downs. So Lincoln James has been very, very good. Bit on fire kind of on the B tracks. He's got a first, a second, and a third his last 3 starts and has looked great. What else do we got here? Linnea, a little hiccup there at the start of her qualifying. She's going to school on Monday. Then we're going to have the vet look at her, make sure, one, her heart sounds good, 2, her lungs sound good. We're going to scope her to make sure her lungs look good. And at that point, I suspect it will all be good, and she will be ready to begin racing. Maintenance Man has not started back training yet. I don't believe I told you he did or he didn't last week. He looks awesome. I saw him come off the track good, and he looks really, really good right now. Maxwell Plum's pretty well ready to go as far as that goes. I know somebody had sent me a message the other day and said, just so you know, you've been saying since November 9th, 2 weeks. Okay, I'm sorry. Harry keeps pushing it back and pushing it back. And then somebody else said, oh, you said he hit his knee. Is he okay? I don't know whether he hit his knee on the gate or in the paddock or on the track. It was in an odd place on the front. It's fine now. Maxwell Plum will be qualifying soon, I promise. I know I've been putting it off for almost 2 months now. It's been 2 weeks for 2 months now, but he is pretty well there and ready to go. Maxwell Plum, ready for the beach, finished second. First start on the beach, on the A track, first start in Ontario in his life, other than a qualifier last year, and he finished second. I'm a little suspect of the clientele he was racing against at Mohawk last week, but if those are going to be the same horses he races against, then he'll be fine, I guess. A big second for him. I was very, very impressed. Screaming Hawk, he's begun training. Harry says, well, we can school him in a few weeks. I said, whoa, cool your jets there, partner. I want this guy good. This is a colt that we suspect will be a stake colt this year. There's no big hurry or rush to get Screaming Hawk back going. I'd like to have him ready to go end of February, 1st of March. And that is what I told Harry. So he's trained him a bunch. He's training him at 1.5 miles. I think he's a lot more comfortable at 1.5 miles, this colt also. So he looks great. Sunshine's Finest. I just watched him go on the track with Harry. Ooh, 12:19. He's a little slow today. He had to take some to train at Mohawk. So Sunshine's Finest still looks good. Put some weight on, looks good. He's going to begin training in another few weeks. Sunshine Inn is a few weeks away. I know, I'm sure. I've been saying this also. She was supposed to be ready same time as Linnea. And Harry said 3 more training trips. I assume today was one, Wednesday, then Saturday. So a week from Thursday, I would suspect she'll school or qualify. The Butler did it. Looked great on the track the other day. He's getting better and better and better every time he goes. I was really happy with him. Too Far Gone. She's schooling on Monday. Probably going to qualify a week from Monday. Very happy with the way she looks on the track now. Warrawee Ultra is growing up and looks great on the track also. And White Tiger, he's not technically back yet. He's on his way. He'll be here soon, and he'll be in Harry's Barn, I would suspect, by Monday morning. So that's Harry's Barn. I'll be right back with Jason's Barn. We'll get through these guys. Well, we're getting through them here. We're going to go right to Jason's Barn. At Jason's Barn, he's got a bunch qualified and racing and about to race all of his horses. I shouldn't say that. There's a couple on here will be a little bit. The Illinois fillies will be a bit. Oso Pine will be a bit. But a lot of horses here that are ready to go or are going. Arvika starts the main list. Arvika, apparently she trained good today. I don't know how good she trained or how fast she went, but I know she should be getting closer. She's been in now for quite a while. I would suspect she'll probably win the bike and go a mile this week, I would think. Boston Glide, real crummy post position tonight. 10 hole in a tough class at Woodbine, at Mohawk. Just as soon leave from the parking lot as the 10 hole. It's there's no silver lining tonight, I don't think. Far outside, in with a bunch of tougher horses, off 2 weeks, not good. But we'll do what we can and see if we can't scab some money and get another good mile into Boston. He raced great his last start, finished third in that class. Casanova's Jewel, he's training back, awesome. Very, very excited every time I see this horse train. Very happy to see him go. He looks a lot more sensible, which we were really praying for. And he always had that drive and that great attitude and work ethic. But the mental acuity sometimes little to be desired for. He looks great training right now. I suspect maybe 1st of March he'll be ready to go. Canali, Hanover, going to requalify him. You know, that horse really pissed me off the other day when he made that break at Flamborough halfway down the lane. There's no need for that. No need at all for that. So this guy's going to qualify and find himself in the condition claimers, I would suspect, for a little while until he gets his head squarely back on his shoulders. Curious Winner. A poor qualifier, but a qualifier nonetheless, and he is qualified. We'll probably school him Monday. Made a few little changes with his equipment, with his shoeing and his equipment. See if we can't get him back on track. Well, on track, and going well. No real issues the other day, only we had a lot more weight on him than he was comfortable with. It really tired him out in the hobbles, and he was had a poor last quarter. We took that weight off. Hopefully he doesn't need it this week, and we're going to try to school him on Monday at Mohawk. I'd love to see a mile in 2 minutes or 2-1 out of this colt. I know he can do it, and if he doesn't, he is going to be heading down the road also. But I suspect he'll be able to do it. He a lot more level-headed than I remember in this colt the other day. So I suspect he'll be fine on Monday. Dance Hall Babe's back going now. I'm not going to lie, I have not seen her on the track, but she's just jogging by all accounts. She looks great. Delcar Star Angel's off for another probably 30 days, I would suspect anyway. Gonna let her really, hopefully, balloon out, grow up, and fill out. She's a big, giant filly. I would have liked to see quarters in 28, 29 with her and see her looking good before we turned her out. She was just tired. She had a long year also. We did give her some time off, but she had a lot of growth spurts she went through, and she ended up finishing off the year as a giant 2-year-old filly. So hopefully she grows into her body a little bit over the next 30 or 40 days, and we get her back and she looks great. Happy Holidays is racing great. She's back in to go this week. Hasn't missed a check yet. 2nd in 58 the other day in a preferred 3. Really, really happy with her. Ivanka is training back now. Her 2nd or 3rd training trip was today. Todd went with her and said she looked really, really well. Jason was over training at the track. I didn't see her go, but he said she looked really well, really good. Jalona, we lost her 4-year-old allowances this week. I would suspect she'll be claimed on Monday at London. It is what it is. Really disappointed with her last couple of miles, but I suspect she'll probably race well on Monday in London and be claimed. Not the end of the world. If she can't win that 85 claim or at least threaten every week, then she's really not going to do us much good. I would suspect we can pool that money somewhere a little more useful. if you will. So Gelona, I suspect she'll do well on Monday and be claimed. Oh So Pine is training back great, jogging back great. We haven't started training him yet. He looks incredible. Really, really filled out this colt. He looks stronger and bigger and taller. Exactly what we wanted to see. Mystical Mission made a little miscue last week. He was on the right line, changed his equipment a little bit, and did a little work on this week. I think Mystical Mission will throw in a good race on Monday, but we will see. Not an Angel. She's like Ivanka, started training again this week. Todd went with her also, said both the Illinois fillies were very, very good this morning. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you. I suspect they're going to come back good. They look great. Not an Angel. Her attitude was bang on all the time. Neither of these fillies were 100% sound all year, and I've said it again and again and again that Angie and Rob did a great job getting these guys to the races and then having them peak right at that final night. That is so incredibly hard to do, and they did a very, very good job with them. Not an Angel, by all accounts, looked great today. Pay the Line Blue Chip, another filly. She lost her 3-year-old allowance. I would suspect somebody's going to really want her this week out of that 7 condition claimer she's in. Not the soundest filly, but very, very tough. I love her, and you know what? We'll race her as many times as they'll let us in there, but I suspect this might be our last start with Pay the Line Blue Chip this coming week. Stolen Dance, we're negotiating a deal with the vast majority of the clientele, the ownership of this filly, to breed her. She's going to need some time off, and I think I've made my decision. There's a couple of clients that maybe don't want to breed her, and I'm going to reach out and maybe see what they want to do with their shares, but I own 49% of her. There's another couple of majority owners that also want to breed her. I think that's the route we're going to go. She's well-bred. She's got a great attitude. Conformation isn't the greatest, but it doesn't always get passed on, and I think breeding her to a top sire. Now, being a layman, and the easy answer for me was Sebastian K. 1, he's got European blood, so he crosses with everything. 2, we have 4 of them here that can fly. 3 that can fly, and 1 I know is well on his way to being a nice horse. I just haven't really tightened the bolts down with him because he was a little sick. That was Sebastian U. But very impressed with the Sebastian K's so far here. We can't have all the best ones. There must be a lot of really nice ones out there, and I think as a $6,000 stud fee, probably a good investment for us. And my argument is simple for Stolen Dance. We can get her to the races, but by the time we get her to the races, we're going to miss breeding season. So is she going to be a better racehorse than a broodmare? Probably not. I'd like to see good miles in 58, 57 or faster on her, and showing a mile, just a qualifying line and a couple of mediocre races is actually harming her value, I think. So for me, Stolen Dance, I think we've almost made up our mind. We are indeed going to breed this filly, and I'm happy to do that. I think we'll probably breed her. Again, I want to consult our clients that know a lot about breeding, and we do have a lot of clients out there that know a lot about breeding. I will profess I know nothing about it other than the process in which it takes place. But I don't know enough about breeding. I can tell you what studs I like, but as far as X factors and outcrosses and all the jargon that is used in breeding, it's all French to me. So we'll be consulting, I would suspect, some of our clients that understand breeding well. I would think Sebastian K is an easy answer, but again, that's not official. So Stonebridge Simba, back jogging, looks really good on the track. He's filled out. He's still small, but he's filled out, looks great. I know a couple of people said, is he still on that right line? Well, he never was jogging. You're not going to see that until you're at top speed. But most of those issues where the horses are biting a line, that heals with time, and he had more than enough time off. So Stonebridge Simba looks good. Stonebridge Loyal, a little flat last week. The track was terrible for a horse with flip-flops on. The flip-flops, again, are a pad that's movable at the back of the foot, like a flip-flop. And just a terrible shoe for that track that she was on, that messy, deep track. Terrible footwear for that. But that's her footwear. So she finished 3rd, raced well. She got 2 wins, a 2nd and a 3rd in her life now. I don't think she's hurting any. We'll race her back next week. Twinsburg's back jogging. She looks incredible. My God, she's huge now. She looks really, really good, this filly. Can't wait to get her training. Not in a rush, though. Just want to make sure we have them ready for mid-March would be nice. West 52nd and Yes fit into the same category. Very talented trotters. Very, very similar trajectory. One obviously made more money than the other, but both very, very good trotters. And the same thing, mid-March we're looking for. So Yes and West 52nd. both looking great. So those are all the barns, all three of them. Very happy with what I've seen so far. Still going to make some more changes. Probably going to have a few more horses that are leaving, but that's the nature of the beast, and we will move forward. So those are all the barns. I'll be right back. I'll give you a little in-depth look at what I saw with all the babies on drone day this week.